Hey Messiah, this past week at our preschool, Mary Bart, our new children and family director, Mary and I began our Jesus Time teachings for the year, where once a month we talk about one of the gifts of the Spirit. And this month we started, as I did last year, and as I think the preschool has laid out on purpose, with the topic of patience. Because imagine life gets better as a teacher if the children have heard about being patient. It gets better around their classmates if one another are patient. And it's probably a super blessing at home if the kids come home and remind their parents to be patient. So anyway, we had this fun lesson, and it was based on this toaster, my toaster, and how patient we have to be while we wait for toast. So what I would do is, once it gets plugged in, sometimes there's a little gag there with the kids. Take toast, put it in, and then while we're waiting for it to pop, we talk about what do we like to put on the toast. Of course, kids are like butter. Had a couple of yeses to cream cheese if they really knew what it was. Nobody said lox and bagels, but we really had fun talking about the things to put on our toast. Well, then the toaster pops up, or the toast pops up, and then Mary switched, then I talked about the different times in the Gospels where Jesus talks about or asks people to have patience, like when he brought the disciples to Gethsemane and they fell asleep instead of patiently waiting, and then when the parents were trying to get their kids to be blessed by Jesus and the disciples are impatient, like shooing the kids away. So talk about that, and then Mary drives it home with the kids and asks, hey, when is it hard for you to be patient? And the survey says, top answers, while they're waiting in line to go outside or do something fun, when they are waiting for dessert after lunch or any meal, and then third, and probably the most unanimous one, when they're waiting for another kid to finish with the toy because they want it to be their turn. Every kid said that. So anyway, then we practiced the phrase, it's okay, I can be patient. And I actually got feedback that one of the kids said that when they got home. So, all right, all that's good. In fact, Mrs. Payette shared with me, one of our preschool teachers, she shared with me that even this year, a child from last year reminds his classmates when they're getting a little bit uptight and impatient, he says, remember Pastor Dan and the toaster. Be patient. I'm like, whoa, that's nice to hear. That's good feedback, and my toaster is now famous. So, all that. Well, I'm waiting here at breakfast for the toast to pop up, for this coffee isn't going to drink itself, so I got to get going. But I've been thinking, patience is a gift from God. It makes our lives better because we aggravate fewer people. We have lower cortisol, right? So we're less likely to have a cardiac event. And honestly, it brings us closer to the heart of God because Jesus spent all sorts of times patiently taking attacks from others and retreating to the wilderness, not because he was afraid, but because he needed to pray. And so, anyway, patience, my wife has it in spades. By the time I got to that table or that dish at the DNA potluck, though, it was mostly all gone. And so I need to practice because I really do struggle. I struggle with little things like, I can't wait for Christmas. 3 p.m. and 10 p.m., Messiah. Oh, gosh, toast's up. All right, so 3 p.m. and 10 p.m., they're going to be amazing services on Christmas Eve. But before that, I got to get my outdoor repairs done. I've got some problems on my front porch I got to take care of. So I'm impatient to get that done, make time for it, and then get the right time to paint it and all that sort of stuff. And then I have a hard time, I'll just be real, about driving behind slow people in traffic. Now, that is a growing edge. I have deep empathy, respect, compassion, and kindness toward those who are slow drivers, but I'm still impatient. So you get the picture. So for now, I'm going to wrap. Remember, parents, our children learn how to be honorable adults who acquit themselves with grace only by watching and listening to us. Parents, grandparents, coaches, teachers, even other church families. Even if they don't know your names, they're watching you at church. It's a lot of responsibility to be a grown-up, and especially if you care about the next generation to come. So let's not fail them by being impatient or hostile when we're running out of patience. St. Paul said in Colossians 3, God chose you, talking to the whole church, God chose you to be the holy people he loves. And if he chose you to be the holy people he loves, remember to follow the fruits of the Spirit. He says you have to clothe yourself with compassion and kindness, humility and gentleness, and patience is the fifth thing. Colossians 3:12. So this Sunday, I look forward to seeing you walking impatiently with your well-behaved children. And if they're not well-behaved or you're not patient, no worries, because you're just joining a whole bunch of church people that had the same experience coming to church. So have a terrific weekend, and remember, be patient and don't pass on the right, except if it's at Route 22 and 12, because honestly, you can be on the right hand and speed up and then get over before the road merges. Don't tell anybody where you heard that. All right. I love you, Messiah. See you soon. Ciao.